The United Kingdom has denied that its warship was fired upon by the Russian military. This after the Russian military said that one of its warships fired warning shots and that a warplane dropped bombs on Wednesday to force a British destroyer away from an area in the Black Sea near Crimea. Moscow claims that the UK trespassed its territorial waters, and Russia has also released a video of the alleged incident. Moscow said that the UK warship changed its course minutes after the incident. Britain, however, denied that account and insisted that its ship wasn't fired upon. In fact, the UK Defence Secretary Ben Wallace accused Russia of spreading disinformation.
What I can say is the Russians recently made a claim about, I think, HMS Dragon and her her use of the route a few months ago, claiming that she'd been chased out, which was factually untrue as well. So, I mean, these are the things that come and go with Russia. Disinformation, misinformation is something that we have seen regularly. We're not surprised by it. We plan for it. And we take all steps to make sure that we are not escalatory or indeed provocative. However, we will not shy away from upholding international law and our rights on the sea.
Russia has said that the Crimea naval incident was a crude provocation from the United States and its allies, and it accused the United Kingdom of violating international maritime laws. Moscow has also summoned the British ambassador to Russia over this incident.
Значительно возросла активность военно-морских сил НАТО у наших границ. Практически на постоянной основе в Черном и Балтийском морях действуют корабли, оснащенные высокоточным оружием большой дальности. Выполняются полеты самолетов разведывательной, патрульной и ударной авиации, а также беспилотных летательных аппаратов. Действия кораблей США и их союзников носят явно провокационный характер.
It is the first time since the Cold War that Moscow acknowledged using live ammunition to deter a NATO warship. The incident reflects rising tensions between Russia and the West, which has supported Ukraine. For more on these updates, WION's correspondent Benji Hired is now joining us live from London. Benji, thanks so much for joining us on WION at this hour. Now, what's the latest that you have on the tensions between the UK and Russia? The UK denies that its warship was fired upon by the Russians.
That's right, there's still two very contrasting narratives, even the next day after this incident. You said there that Britain has denied reports that came out of Russia that effectively a warship was dropping bombs in front of the HMS Defender. Russia said that's because Britain had been passing through Russian waters. And the reason for the dispute, as you laid out, is the fact that Russia sees it as their territory. Britain sees it as Ukrainian territory, and that this ship was simply passing from Odessa in Ukraine on the most direct, legitimate route through to Georgia. Obviously, given the contrasting narratives, there is going to be a longer fallout from this. And what has to be considered now is what this means going forward in terms of the UK-Russia relationship. It's one of the lowest points between the two countries, and it increases tensions between two states that already had quite a fractious relationship. It was a couple of years ago in 2018 when the Salisbury poisonings happened. That's an attempt, allegedly, according to the UK, by Russia to poison two citizens living in the UK. And since then, those tensions have continued. And there's also something else to bear in mind here, that even though many people argue this is simply a case of the UK confidently yet non-combatively poking the Russian bear and the bear poking back, it could mean more in terms of wider foreign affairs and set a precedent. And what I mean by that is the fact that the UK strike force, those collection of Navy ships, is now going to be heading to the South China Sea, another heavily disputed area in the world when it comes to territory. And what we've seen here is perhaps an example of what might come in other areas of the globe.
Right, Benji, that brings me to our next question, actually, since you mentioned the Russia-UK ties going forward. Now, the UK maintains that the HMS Defender was making a legal and innocent passage. Then why the supposed firing, especially near Russia-annexed Crimea? And what impact will this development have on UK-Russia ties going forward?
Right, I think you mentioned a really key point here, which is the reason why there are these two contrasting narratives, and that is the word Crimea. Essentially, that's that peninsula that originally belonged to Ukraine that Russia then annexed back in 2014. That was a move that was not recognised by the international community, and that's why you have Russia arguing that the HMS Defender was passing through their territory. This is a ship that belongs to a NATO nation that sailed thousands of kilometres from its home port to go within miles of the Crimea Peninsula, and you have the UK, I should say, arguing that in fact this is a legal passageway and it was conforming to all international shipping routes, given that the rest of the international community, much of the West, sees that as Ukrainian territory, not Russia. It's difficult to know exactly whether that is what the UK it was truly doing, or whether, as I mentioned before, this is the UK provocatively kind of poking that Russian bear. And also, this is careful territory. Even though nothing happened from this incident and the UK has passed through this territory before without any problems, there was a reporter on that ship who said, quite boldly, that wars have started over less.
Right, Benji, thank you for all those updates from London, and thank you for joining us on WION. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.